Andrew Griffiths here, co-founder of Smallville. How you doing? Hope you're enjoying the site. It gets a little bit bigger each week, more contributors, more articles. Feedback's been fantastic. And this is a new segment that I'm going to be doing on Smallville on a regular basis. Obviously, I'm an author, so I'm big on books. I read a lot of books. So I'm going to review and give you some recommendations on a few books, probably once a month or something like that, or just periodically. I'll keep it relatively short, but I'm trying to look for books that I think are really relevant for small business owners, like yourself and like myself. And any book that I'm going to refer, it's because I've read it and I found it beneficial for me. You'll find that it's not going to necessarily be the usual kind of mix of books that you might come across. Okay, so first of all, the first book today is Brian Tracy's book called Bullseye, which is a new one that he's just recently released. And it's about the power of focus, okay? Brian Tracy, if you've never heard of Brian Tracy, American guy, bit of a legend, been around for many, many years in the advisory space, helping businesses, etc. I've followed his work for decades, I've got to say. I think there's a lot of stuff in here which is really relevant in a world that is struggling for us all to find focus. We're all so distracted. For me, it's been the biggest battle that I've had to deal with in the last 5 years or so. So many ideas, so many opportunities, so many ways to get distracted, so many butterflies to chase. This book here is extraordinarily powerful. So it breaks it down into 7 kind of categories, 7 C's. Everyone seems to do 7 C's, 7 P's, we're all doing it. Number 1 is it's all about courage. Number 2, it's about curiosity. Number 3, it's about conviction. Number 4, it's about consistency. Number 5, connection. Number 6, community. And then number 7, creativity. It's only a little book. It's not going to take long to read. It's less than 100 pages. But it's a fabulous kind of a book in terms of if you're struggling to focus, it's the type of book you could read in an hour max, I would think. You could write notes all over it and you will find it extraordinarily helpful because whilst the power of clarity, power of focus stuff can sound a bit cliche, he really goes through it and describes them in a very, very positive way and then says, okay, that's nice, this is what clarity is about, but who's your target, okay? What are the consequences if you don't target? Probability, hitting the bullseye. It gives you lots of really great practical advice and I think that's what makes this book work. As I say, it's an easy read, $20. I got this at Kinokuniya in Sydney. You can get it pretty much anywhere, I'm sure. Great little read, the type of book that you want to refer to a lot, particularly in times when you're struggling to stay focused, when you're a little bit overwhelmed, there's a lot of stuff going on. So for me, this is a book that I tend to carry with me, and when I'm a little bit kind of stressed out about stuff, pull it out, have a quick read and go, right, refocus. Who's it good for? I think it's really good for anyone who's got a lot of stuff to do. Ideally, obviously, small business owners who have got a lot, but if you're not into reading big, long books, and I guess, a lot of people aren't because they haven't got time, I think you'll find this book really helpful. Earmark it, write all over it, I've written all through the insides, do that kind of stuff and make it a real practical kind of book. Really nice book to give away as well. So if you've got some clients or people or your staff or whatever it might be, a team, $20 book, one of the greatest gifts you can give, in my opinion, and because I'm biased because I'm an author, but a book like that's really, really a great giveaway. Okay, so that one, Brian Tracy, Bullseye, The Power of Focus. Okay, the second book I want to recommend to you is an oldie, actually. This one here is by a guy called Harv Eker, and it's the Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And I met Harv in America, probably about 5-6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, at an event. And I've got to say, I found him to be one of the most interesting and extraordinary kind of people around. Now, I'm big. My next book is all about small business poverty and poverty thinking. And this is a book that addresses that, okay? Poverty thinking. It determines where is your poverty line. Now, I've seen this in action many times. I see it in the language that small business owners use. I see it in what they charge. I see that many business owners who can never, ever make a profit in their business, and they don't realize it simply because they don't charge enough. Now, it's complicated. It all comes into do with self-worth and all that kind of jazz, and perhaps upbringing and where's your poverty line and all the rest of it. But we all have this kind of poverty line, but we can all shift it. I was brought up in a poverty situation. Believe me, I get that, I understand it, but I've learned to raise my poverty line by valuing myself a whole lot more. Now, some of you might go, "Whoa, that's kumbaya-ish, Andrew." It is most certainly not. If you're not making enough money in your business and you're working yourself to death, odds on, you've got a poverty mentality, okay? You're just not charging enough for what you're doing. no matter how much you try to change, unless you change your mindset, nothing will change in your business, okay? So this is a book to read around that. Look, it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I certainly didn't find anything in there. Harv is a commercial beast. If you get involved on his online or sign up for anything, he'll try and sell you everything. But understanding just a little bit about how we think and how people who are successful financially think as opposed to how people who aren't successful financially think, and a few things will go, okay, I get it. Now this book, again, it's not huge, you can read it in a few hours type of thing. It's readily available, but I do find now it is getting a bit harder to come by. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it on Booktopia, it might just take a little while to come through. But again, one of those books, take somewhere, if you're going on a holiday, going on a long plane flight, take it and read it from cover to cover. And I'd be really, really surprised if you didn't change your thinking dramatically. I most certainly did. I only read it because I met him and he gave me a copy and I went, okay, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? I really worked towards changing my kind of thought after I read that. So if you want to make more money in your business, read Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. It's not a get rich quick thing. It's none of that kind of stuff. It's about fundamental shift inside about your own self-worth and your own values and your own poverty line. Okay. The last one, number 3, is this one, which is kind of strange to be using as a book to talk a bit about small business. This is Ice Cream Social, The Struggle for the Soul of Ben & Jerry's. Now in Australia, Ben & Jerry's is probably not as well known, even though many of us have bought Ben & Jerry's from the ice cream cabinet in most stores, but it's an extraordinary business and an extraordinary backstory about complicated businesses, challenging the status quo, social entrepreneurialism, what would you say? Challenging people in business. The guys running this are basically nuts. And everything they did, from setting it up to selling it to their structure financially, to giving back, was so counterintuitive and so against the traditional norm that most people thought there's no way this can work. #1 ice cream brand in the world, and yes, it's been sold, but I reckon they'll end up owning it again. These kind of books, I read them because I learn a lot about doing business when I read this. I learn a lot about how other people have done what they've done, what's worked, what hasn't, all that kind of stuff. They're interesting for self-reflection. They're interesting to excuse me, they're interesting to help you drive along. They're interesting for you to put a bit of reflection on where you're at, but they are inspiring. Now this book, what I like about it, it's not all, hey, Ben & Jerry's, aren't we wonderful? It's the exact opposite. It's warts and all, it's tough, it's challenging, it's a bit ugly, it's awesome, it's a bit of everything. So if you are stimulated by those kind of books about, what goes on behind the scenes of a business, it's a great one to read. And I read a lot of these kind of books and I use them when I'm presenting as well, some of the anecdotes and stories. So anyway, Ben & Jerry's, The Ice Cream Social, it's called The Struggle for the Soul of Ben & Jerry's, a great book. So there are 3 books for you. Have a read. If they resonated, give us a bit of feedback in the comments bar down below. If you've read these books, or one of them, I'd love your feedback as well. And I will do this. If you've got any books that you want me to review in particular, drop us a line at Smallville. I'll be glad to do that. If you've got books that you want us to read, you can send them in to us as well. The details are on the site. I'm not going to guarantee we'll review them. We only review books that I think are of benefit to you, our community. And none of these are done or reviewed in any commercial way, okay? I buy these books and generally, most of them, some of them, yes, I got given that one by Harv Eker, but there's no commercial consideration for us. They're simply being recommended as a way to help you in your business. All right, that's it. Over and out. Thank you, folks. I'll talk to you again really soon. Bye-bye.